Final segment of the Yaffee program on Newstalk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Don't forget, if you miss any of the show live, and we talked about a lot today, the Supreme Court case dealing with women's sports, Governor Kay Ivey's State of the State speech, my interview with Barry Moore, and much more. What's trending? If you missed any of it, the podcast will be up on the website, WVNN.com. And don't forget, great lineup continues. Got the Vince Show coming up next, Right Side Radio. After that, Mark Olvin in the evening, then the Daily Controversy with Christopher Reed, 8 to 10 p.m. And Chris, of course, will join me on the morning show tomorrow. Got to talk about the latest here when it comes to President Trump. He made comments yesterday at a Ford plant talking about defunding sanctuary cities. That's how I'm going to put it. He's going to pause federal funds to sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. Walker, if you can, go ahead and play Trump Cut 2 for me.
Detroit Economic Club.
We're giving 90-day notices to places like California, Scott. Right away, we're going to send out that notice. Who would bill the federal government as people poured into the state to send those people back because no country can afford to do it? No country can afford to take in millions of people, pay for their education, their health care, their hospitals. You just can't do it. And we all have a heart. You can't do it. Additionally, starting February 1st, we're not making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary cities.
So in one sense, I love this because you'll get like Tim Walz or the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, saying, get the F out. We don't need the federal government handling this. So it's like, fine. You don't need the federal government, to actually enforce immigration law, which is under the federal government's purview. Fine. You don't get any money from the federal government. That's kind of the thinking here. And I sympathize with that. Now, I did see that New York City Mayor Mamdani said he's going to defend New York. In response, he said, our values and our laws are not bargaining chips. We will always defend New Yorkers, even in the face of federal threats to withhold funding. So there you go. According to Mamdani, illegal immigrants are New Yorkers. That is his response. Now, I will say I'm a little bit nervous about this. One, I know there's some legal arguments to be made. That'll be handled in the courts, I'm sure. But the reason why I'm a little bit nervous about this is, once again, it's a precedent that's being set. So you had states like Alabama, back to what we talked about at the beginning of the show when it came to protecting women's sports or banning transgender surgeries for minors, whatever it is. You had states that wanted to do that. What happens when a Democrat president comes in and says, you better do that or we're going to withhold all federal funding to you? That creates kind of a problem, doesn't it? You know, it's one thing when it's for something we agree with, and I agree with Trump here 100%. And I think politically speaking, a lot of people do. Like, they're like, fine. They're not thinking beyond that. So they're like, fine, whatever. But I'm a little bit nervous about this only for that reason, because now we've set a precedent, and when a Democrat becomes president, they're going to start doing this. They're going to start doing this for a lot of different reasons. So it'll be interesting to see if a case like this goes to the Supreme Court. Really, the biggest lesson here, if you want to be honest, if you're mad about a president doing something like this, states should not be as reliant on the federal government as they are to begin with. I mean, that's the real lesson. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. But really, the federal government should not, and I've said this a million times, so I know you've heard me say it before, but the federal government should not be this involved in our lives to begin with. But when it comes to immigration, that is an area where the federal government should be involved. And that's why it's so frustrating when you get sanctuary cities, because it's actively impeding federal law, immigration law, which is federal law. And the Supremacy Clause in the Constitution says that they have a right to do that. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how this ends up in court and everything else, and the reaction, and maybe if even some cities or states change. Appreciate you listening to the show. If you missed any of it, the podcast is up on the website, WVNN.com. I'll be back tomorrow at the same time. See you then.
The Yaffee Program.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Hey, I'm Chris Van Vliet. This is Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Go behind the scenes and beyond the headlines with people like John Cena.
That's where Never Give Up comes from. I wasn't Brock. I wasn't Roman. I wasn't Dwayne. I was last.
And the biggest names in pro wrestling and beyond.
It's a legitimate interview.
This is Insight with
Chris Van Vliet.
Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
The Inside of You podcast.
You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Our guest today, William H. Macy.
A lot of my career has been making unsavory characters kind of appealing.
Allison Mack is here.
There was this complete decomposition of my identity and this moment of like, who am I?
Let's get inside of Ron Perlman. Do you still love acting?
I'm obsessed with getting better at it. My heroes are in a state of flow. Just this moment of humanity.
The Inside of You podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.